Now, somewhere among the Black Hills reserved for mining in Dakota, there lived a young boy by the name of Rocky Raccoon. Now, one day, his romantic partner, who was an attractive female, left him for another man and physically assaulted Rocky in the process. Rocky wasn't too fond of that, and he took up a journey of vengeance. So on a subsequent day, he left his abode and checked into a saloon in the nearby city. Now, Rocky Raccoon, having successfully procured adequate lodging for the night, retreated to his room and, well, what do you think he found there? He found Gideons Bible. Now, Rocky had come to the saloon carrying a firearm, and with it he intended to inflict some pretty severe injuries on the young man whom he suspected of being nearby. We can deduce at this point that Rocky was upset at this young man because it was with him that the young lady spoken of earlier had chosen to pursue a romantic relationship. Now, this young lady was given the name of McGill by her guardians, but she referred to herself as Lil. Apparently she liked having a shorter name with a more feminine ring to it. Yet everyone actually addressed her by the name of Nancy, and well, the reasons for this are really beyond the scope of this song. In any event, the lady of multiple identities and her lover, who was addressed by any variation of the name Daniel, such as Dan for short, as he preferred, were attending the hoedown which was conveniently being held next door. Rocky entered the hoedown in an agitated manner, although he had a kind of ironic grin on his face, and he challenged Daniel, or Dan, or Danny, whichever it was, to a showdown. Daniel apparently accepted this challenge because the next thing we know, Daniel shot Rocky and declared himself the victor, while Rocky slumped down in the corner of the room. Doctor, a character just now being introduced into the story, entered the scene while under the influence of an alcoholic beverage, and he laid himself down, interestingly enough, on top of a table. We don't know why, really. But he offered his advice to Rocky that maybe this whole thing about killing Daniel had been a mistake and an overreaction, and that Daniel was a nice boy, really. But Rocky protested the advice and diminished the severity of his injury, insisting that he would recover at some vague point in the future. He then went back to his room and he found that Bible again, the one Gideon left there. Thankfully, Gideon, being the great guy he was, had the insight to provide Rocky with this holy text so that Rocky might get over the whole thing and live an altogether better life, free of the murderous whims that follow the dissolution of a failing relationship that was bound to come to a close at some point anyway. And that's a moral of the story, that it might not be entirely worth it to try and kill people in a fit of emotional rage, because in all actuality, you could get yourself shot in the process.